Okay, I wanted to get into something, and I'm going to kind of lay it out of what happened and all of that. This is rare for me to happen, but the first question I want to ask you before we even get into it,
Yeah.
if you were a betting man and had to lay money on it, is Bruce Bochy coming back?
I would bet yes.
You would bet yes. Okay.
Yeah, just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of I don't know if reading between the lines or whatever, but trying to pick up on some things he said. I think I'll say this: I think he wants to manage. I think he
Okay.
wants to continue, and now, all indications are that Chris Young wants him back,
Yep.
right? And so is that going to happen? And just yesterday we asked about it, and they said, oh no, we haven't talked about it, this, that, and the other. And it's like, well, what do you mean you haven't talked about it? Of course you've talked about it, but
Sure.
Anyway.
Well,
I think that Rangers manager next year will be Bruce Bochy.
Okay. So let's talk about my interaction. First of all, let's be very clear, and I want to lay this out for people. The difference between Jeff and I when we were at games. We were both at the game Tuesday. Jeff left early because his son had a football game. I was there, and the way this normally works, it's very rare I have a sit-down one-on-one with anybody just because there's no need. It's more, if I do, it's just for fun. It's just asking, talking, doing stuff. You know that, Jeff. You're the one that if you're writing a story on somebody, you can get a one-on-one and do that. I'm never going to do that. I'm not writing anything or doing that. We get there about 2:30 or so, 3 o'clock, the clubhouse opens, and I'm just going to explain to you how this all played out so you know what happened. So it plays out. We usually walk into the clubhouse. If you don't know what that is, it's the locker room. Players are around. That's when you can ask questions. You had some great questions to ask because that was the day the ABS had been announced that they were going to. And so you talk to, and you don't talk to them while they're at the ping pong table or the card table. You wait if they're at their locker, and you talk to a few guys about it. Higashioka, you talked to Langford, Higashioka. It was interesting. They were great answers. We're there till about 3:40. We all walked down this tunnel out to the dugout where you guys wait around for Bochy to come out for his interview. He sits down with everybody, the beat writers and the TV and radio, to talk about what's going on in the game. That's where you told me when I said what happened. I never get in on that because there's a lot of people trying to get there, and I don't need to. And that's where they announced that Simeon and Seager are shut down for the year, which we kind of figured. I mean, there's no reason for them to come back. They officially announced it. So what happens after that, guys, is that they're usually taking infield and they're taking batting practice. We're hanging around the front of the dugouts. Jeff had gone by now. He had to get to Henry's game, but I'm there for the rest of the night. I was standing right in front of where Bochy sits during a game, and everyone knows where that bench is right there. Right to the right there is where you walk up and down the steps. I'm talking to Taylor. We're sitting there shooting the you-know-what, and Cody Freeman comes over, and as Cody comes over, Taylor wanted to talk to him. And so Cody kind of looked at him, looked at me. I said, he's a good guy. I talked to him. So Cody knows you and I real well, so he sat and did an interview. In the meantime, earlier I had talked to Mike Maddox about his grandkid, and we were talking all about that. I'd gone down and talked to Mike. I'm standing right in front of Bochy's seat. He's coming in from batting practice. Figured he's walking down the tunnel, probably going to go to the back where he goes to his office or whatever. We're 3 hours before game time. They do all their stuff before the game. Just kind of said, hey, Boch, how are the grandbabies? So Boch turns around, sits in his seat, and it's me and Boch just sitting there. So this was, this has happened to me often. And he sits down and goes, oh, they're going good, and he sat down. And I said, let me ask you that older one, your oldest one. I said, I'm getting the ages wrong here. Is it T-ball, baseball? What is he playing now? He goes, oh, no, he's playing he's older now. He's playing coach pitch, but what they do is they don't, if they don't let him walk. So if there's a walk, then the coach comes in to finish. And I talked about coaching my son. And, yeah. I said, what about that baby? Now, she was little during the parade. He goes, 5 years old, she's doing cheerleading now, doing some kind of cheerleading. She's doing all that. And he goes, actually, they're getting up there. They're at a point where they get their bicycles. They could actually ride down to the house. and do all of that. And I said, I'm talking about Allie, and you've met Allie's boyfriend now, and that's my daughter. And I'm like, I'm so close. I'm talked to Maddox a while ago. I'm ready to be a grandparent, but we got to get her married off and all of that. And he goes, boy, it's great. It's when you become a hero again. He said, Papa's a hero again, and doing all that. And I said, well, do all your kids, now, if for those don't know, Bochy lives in Tennessee. He's got this neighborhood where they drive around on golf carts. He talks about it all the time. And his kids live there. And I said, now, do all your kids live there? And he said, no, I've got one that lives in San Diego. He goes, I actually got a granddaughter out there. And I said, do y'all get out there much? And he goes, well, during the season when we go out there, we'll go see them. And she's about 6 or 7, I think he told me. And Mimi goes out there all the time. And then, of course, I said, I guess off season. He goes, yeah, when the off season's here, obviously we see him more. And then he just kind of went, this thing's going so fast. He goes, they are getting where they're going so fast. And he looked at me, but he looked through me, and he was saying all of this. And if I would have bet $100 right there, I would have said, he's thinking about, is it time to go be full-time grandpa? That's the way it felt. Listen, there's 2 scenarios here. First of all, his wife makes a lot of decisions, I think, and she has a big weigh-in on this. So you could think maybe that's the way he's looking. On the other hand, this is also the last couple of series of a very crappy season that has just kind of folded. And he might be thinking, let's get this weekend over with. I'm ready to go back to Tennessee for a little bit to decompress, see the grandbabies, and do that. But if I would have betting man right there, I would have thought the way he said it, very friendly. We were just talking, having fun. He said nothing to the effect, there's no way I'm asking him if he's coming back, because that's not my position or place. But I was like, that looks like a guy right there who is ready to see grandbabies. And it could just be just because the season's almost here, or I don't know. It's been a crappy season. We know that. It's been a tough one, and he has managed his butt off. I am still in the effect that I think he's coming back. That's what I thought. I just kind of had that gut. But boy, I'm telling you right now, after that, I was like, whoa, I don't know. So I don't know, Jeff.